Continuing in our chat about ergogenic aids in sport, and we're going to now approach the systems biology view of health and resilience, taken from the functional medicine sort of matrix and then applied into elite sports. And this is a really interesting area. We'll take a quick sort of trip through the different areas, why they might be important, and what the relevance might be to the athlete or active individual. I should stress that all of these protocols apply to absolutely anybody. It could be a soccer mum doing a daily insanity workout at home. It could be busy city executive who loves triathlon. It could be someone like myself who enjoys going to the gym on an almost daily basis. So really, it's not just for elite athletes. It's really applicable to anybody who's into health and fitness, which actually, to be fair, we all should be anyway, shouldn't we? So functional medicine matrix, really important, and background approach is vital. Really, you've got to look at systems, you've got to look at causes, multiple causes. You've got to look at one thing causing many other things, and you've got to look at many other things causing one thing. And this is how you can build a really effective intervention with your clients, with your athletes. So we'll jump ahead. We're not going to talk about supplements until section 2, which is all about supplements. We're paving the way at the moment, just building the pillars, if you like, and looking at the map before we delve into the protocols as such. But let's just quickly look at some of the areas that we can influence, and then some of the substances which can positively influence these particular areas. And this should just start the grey matter thinking. I'm probably going to ask you questions as we go through, or just begin to get the brain looking at the links. So by asking the question, then later on when you get the answer, you'll build the link, you'll build the connection, and then that way, that's one of the ways we humans learn best. I sort of adapted functional medicine matrix into this, which is kind of the same thing. It's just maybe a little bit easier to look at, and it often gets a little bit of a chuckle. But humans are sexual beings. Usually, if you're not feeling sexual, I mean, there's some reasons where you may not be, religious and otherwise, and things like that, or able-bodied wise. But in general situations, if you're not feeling a little bit frisky, then there's probably something up with your physiology, because friskiness relies on optimum sex hormone production, which relies on rest and recuperation, relies on positive mental attitude and approach, relies on optimum nutrition, relies on good blood flow. So it's a sign that things are working quite well. And often if you train too hard, you can often feel the edge may be taken off in terms of your other interests. Let's just put it like that, other interests. So yes, CNS, hormonal, energy. So we spend quite a lot of time talking about energy substrate, fueling, digestion and absorption, obviously oxygen, circulation, vasodilation. And within that, we've got the inflammatory processes, immune, brain and mood state, and energy balance. That's not everything we'll be talking about, but it's just a short list. So let's skim through and look at some of these areas and look at why they might be important. Well, the brain and central nervous system. Well, a healthy brain, healthy body, Where the mind goes, the body will follow is a phrase. Your intention, your motivation, your grit will override many hardships on your journey to maximum performance. So lots of reasons we need to look after optimum brain health. The systems can't be taken in isolation. So a phrase that's often used is healthy heart, healthy brain. I wanted to take a step back out of the systems and just quickly look at hydration. This isn't necessarily a system, this is an environmental context. Nothing works well in a dehydrated environment. One of the books that actually put me onto sports nutrition, Optimum Sports Nutrition Bible by Michael Colgan, and it's out of print, but it's still a good read. That might have been one of the turning points in my journey when I picked that up in a store on King's Road many years ago. But yeah, we will go into this. It is a protocol that we need. The brain needs to be in a well-hydrated environment, and we will delve into this area in lots of detail. The foundation between hope and despair, very good. Why We Sleep, Matt Walker. Read that book. It might be one of the best books you can read as a coach. We used to think of sleep as one of the pillars of performance, but really it's probably the foundation upon which all the other pillars are built. So you can go a few days without water and you can go a few more without sleep, but those are the things which kill you first if you don't get enough of them. That's why they use sleep deprivation as a form of torture. Nasty people do anyway. So that's another area we're going to delve into a lot of detail in terms of our protocols. Cardiovascular, of course. If this system doesn't work properly, you're soon going to know about it. What's that joke? My heart's beating really loudly in my chest, and the doctor says, "Well, give me a call if it stops." Blood volume, hemoglobin, blood quality, the whole cardiovascular system is foundational to exercise performance. We are not what we eat, but we are what we digest and absorb. Good digestion starts in the mouth. It's probably not, it's anecdotally, but it's not a coincidence. If you fix someone's digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, they tend to lose fat, gain muscle. I know one of the things I'll be talking about is you can't look at these things in isolation, because as a coach you're always influencing multiple pathways. But you are not what you eat, you are what you digest and you absorb. Nature will castigate those who don't masticate, and that's masticate. You have to be careful when you phrase that, obviously, for obvious reasons. But yeah, good digestion starts in the mouth. It actually starts with the eyes and the smell, and when you're cooking something nice in the kitchen. So that's another area we need to look at, including things that can go wrong with the digestion. IBS, SIBO, gut bugs, H. pylori, inflammation, gut-brain connection, microbiome. We'll come on to that in a moment. Detoxification. You read some, sometimes Twitter's a terrible place, isn't it? Some, people would say there is no such thing as detoxification. I mean, how they can actually say that, I really don't know. You only have to run a few panels, look at people that love tuna fish as a bodybuilding food, and you find heavy metal toxicity and then repeated soft tissue injuries. So yeah, detox is a thing. It's an area that needs to be supported. A healthy liver just ties into just about every aspect of optimum performance. And we need to also be mindful of protein. Whilst sufficient protein is important, You need just enough, not too much. We'll come back to that. It's a hormetic dose. Remember I was mentioning hormesis, allostasis, allostatic load. Those are all concepts you need to keep in mind. If you're ill, you can't train. If your immune system's depressed, you can't repair the body sufficiently fast. We do get the phenomenon of slow healers, and you go into any physio room and you're like, yep, that one, he's a slow healer, she's a slow healer. What's going on with that person? Thinking thyroid, adrenal, gut. Let's have a look at that. Optimum immune function, immune system supporting protocols, they need to be in the locker, don't they? The endocrine system is just such a big system, but just to say, let's keep this in mind as well. The HPA, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. You've got cortisol, testosterone ratios. We've got neurotransmitters back into brain health. We've got optimizing natural growth hormone release. We've got pancreatic enzymes. We've got insulin management, insulin sensitivity. I mean, you could talk all day just on this area. We're housed within a vessel. You'll know if you've ever been injured that it sucks. So you need to keep a robust, bouncy, resilient vessel. Bones, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, musculature. It's built from what you eat. And recovery protocols are essential. Injury protocols are really just an intensification and a honing in of a normal recovery protocol. There are other things you probably add in that you might not use on the day-to-day recovery basis, but we need to consider this kind of like a bread and butter sports nutrition, performance coaching element. A lot written about this. I've been delivering several seminars on this, and you might be talking for 90 minutes and you still haven't covered everything that you need to cover. And more recently, this is tied into something that's called the gut muscle connection. Well, it's basically a different way of saying the same thing, isn't it? But now we know that everything kind of goes through the gut. I guess that's the position we're in at the moment. We've got our brain, our nervous system. We've our gut, and we've the interface between the gut and the brain, which is the vagal nerve, vital inflammatory interface mechanism. So vagal tone, you might ever hear of phrases like vagal tone. Obviously, you've heard of the microbiome. The influence of nootropics on optimizing brain function. So this again, we need to be considering in the background, and looking at all aspects of gut health. Well, I can delve any areas like this. There'll be another slide deck, which will expand and delve deeply into the area. But we will look at this in these lecture series. At the moment, 2023 is the date these are being recorded. That's probably quite important because there are consistent themes, and I'm very pleased to be a very consistent practitioner. I'm not one of those practitioners that goes vegan and rings everyone up and tells them that the protein they're eating is going to kill them, and 6 months later feels like shit and goes back onto protein and then calls everyone up and tells them being a vegan is going to kill them. There's consistent themes which you need to adhere to. And luckily 25 years in the business has allowed me to delve into these systems and find out what works, and perhaps more importantly, what doesn't work. So one thing that for sure needs to be looked at, measured, influenced is the inflammatory system. It ties into so many different things. For me, the really big thing about this is how it influences how you feel. So I like to feel good. I like my athletes to feel good. I like my clients to feel good. And actually, if they're wandering around in a state of chronic inflammation, then that's going to be just a lot harder. So clear links between depression, clear links between immune system function, clear links around recovery, and then, longer term, we're thinking about how this ties into degenerative disease. That's not going to be a major way that you're going to influence someone that isn't suffering from some sort of degenerative disease. What your best method of influence is, how is this going to make me feel today? And actually feeling better on a daily basis is the way you're going to get much more buy-in. A lot of this mental strength coaching will revolve around being relaxed, that calm, strong, relaxed, powerful, confident approach, which can have a massive influence on inflammatory processes in the body. But it all ties together. That is much easier to accomplish if you're eating in the right way to influence the microbiome in the right way. And before we just wrap up this section, which has been a brief overview of the body systems, let's look at how we decide what works. So this is quite an interesting area. I think there's a quote from the chief editor of The Lancet around science at the moment. I mean, the truth is, if you want to argue one way or another, you can probably find a study to support your theory, generally speaking. And my biggest beef with certain individuals is that if you're considering a protocol or an intervention, have you done it yourself? I find it highly annoying, and it's probably not good clinical practice if someone's making a clinical management system around an intervention and they haven't even used the supplement themselves. It's almost laughable in some ways, but not laughable, because how the hell can you say that you're a proper practitioner if you haven't used it yourself? Shameful, really, in a lot of ways. Shameful. So look, there's level of evidence. Of course there is. There's stuff that you just can't not include in a performance-based approach. There's stuff that's, got a medium amount of evidence and probably will work. Might have evidence in other areas outside of sports. And then there's a kind of a maybe area. The maybe area might have 2,000 years of traditional herbal use, but there's just not the massive study, just because outside of pharmaceuticals there isn't generally the cash to fund these type of studies. But it's not to say that it's not a highly effective intervention. And let's look at something that is proven not to work or has a 20% efficacy. If you've got a coach with 10 athletes and 2 of them do really well and 8 of them have no effect, that coach will want to use that. But the clever approach is to find out the ones who respond to the intervention and then hone your intervention so you're not wasting resources on the ones that don't respond. I think it's important to look at the mechanisms behind all the supplements, find out what the mechanism is, how it would probably work, and then experiment on yourself. Do your bloods, experiment on a few more people, close friends, do their bloods, look at their performance, and once you've got a sort of base of how's this going, then you can potentially present it to the medical team, and do maybe a pilot. But that process takes time, and it's important that it does take time so that you make an informed choice about what your intervention is going to be. I've always got that little edge in what I've done because I'm open to using things which would fit into a might work, will do, and the medical and performance teams I've worked within, generally speaking, not all of them, some of them are bloody like a witch hunt, they just don't want you there in the first place. We can delve into that in a bit more detail throughout this morning. But the teams that do best, the athletes that have done the best over the last 25 years are the ones that have adopted this approach. So in a way, it's proven, if you like, because 25 years of clinical experience has gone in behind the evidence, and that is a form of evidence. Another form of evidence is a case study. You got one case study, it's interesting. You got 50 case studies showing the same thing, then that's highly interesting. So let's keep an open mind around levels of evidence. Let's have a look at some of the stuff in terms of pyramid. And different people have different, I suppose, appetites for innovation. If you just want to stick to beta-alanine, bicarb, caffeine, creatine, beetroot juice, do that. If you want to go moderate levels of evidence, I think you'd be mad not to take fish oils, to be honest, or on the back of lots of oily fish. Carnitine's super interesting. Curcumin, it's in my top 10. Glucosamine, I'm a bit 50-50 on that, and chondroitin. Probably go collagen might take the edge on that. And then you got vitamins, you got things like tart cherry juice, and then you got a ton of other stuff which has got really good, powerful effects, but it wouldn't even make this list. So, yep, that's wrapping up section 2. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've got any questions. There's a link in the description, so you can reach out, you can read more, you can contact me. Happy to answer any of your questions. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to look at body processes to optimize in more detail, and we're going to start to bring up some protocols. Next section is going to be quite a long section, but I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks a lot.